Hi, beautiful friends. Happiest Monday to you. I'm so excited to spend some time with you today. And honestly, this is my joy. Like seeing your faces, knowing that I get to connect with you, feel your energy, and also just share some things with you. It is my absolute joy in my heart. So thank you for being here. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Christy Jex. Maybe we are connected with Plexus, but maybe not. Today is like some of our other friends that are not in Plexus land are joining us. And we just want you to know that we're so honored to have you. It is so awesome to connect with you and all the people that we love. So thank you so much for being here. And I'm excited and honored to spend some time with you. Okay, my friends, we're going to talk about something that it actually kind of like makes me nervous. I've been talking in front of people for 6 years. I mean, and even before that, I did some stuff like that. But this subject makes me a little nervous. Anybody else? Like when you think about it, it kind of makes your hands sweat a little and you're like, right? Yeah, Carol's feeling me. Okay, it's okay. It is okay. I had to really release myself this morning from thinking I have to be perfect at this to share with you today. Can you relate with that? My old story used to be, Brittany's feeling me, I love that. My old story used to be, I can't like stand on a stage and talk to people about something because I still am working on that, right? How many of us think that people that stand on stages or release podcasts are perfect at the thing that they're talking about? Heck no. Reach around. You know where this is going. Reach around. Do you have a butt crack? You do? What? Awesome. That means you're a human. Welcome to Earth. If you're a human, you are still in process of a lot of things. And guess who else is? Ta-da! Me. I'm so in process with this. So I'm just sharing that with you so that you feel me. And I'm like, we are in this humaning thing together. Like I have had sweaty hands and just had some stuff coming up while I was preparing for this, but I'm going to let that go. And my intention today is for you to get in touch with your beautiful intuition. Okay. Whenever you talk or hear from Christy Jex, we're always going to go there. We're going to go to, okay, I'm here to share some things with you that work for me, to share some nuggets I've gathered along the way, but also to always point you back to your own heart and your own intuition. It's my belief that you have your own answers and that you have things stored inside your heart and maybe in your subconscious that would serve you if we could excavate those and bring those back to your conscious. So that is always my intention, is to guide you back to your intuition. So I really hope that you have a notebook, and you have a pen, and you'll write down some things that I share, but mostly I want you to be open and asking for some answers from your intuition. Okay. There might be things that I share that spark something for you that I didn't say. Okay. Because it's not about what I share, it's about what you hear. And I want you to capture those moments where you get that clarity, or you get that little light bulb moment, as I call it, where you go, oh my gosh, yes, write it down, capture it. Those things are jewels, they're gems. And I want you to take those and keep it, right? Keep it close to your heart and start to actually act on those things, because that really is where your answers are. Okay, I'm going to ask you, maybe you relate with me, and I really want to hear from you in the comments. I want to hear from you on this. Have you ever, I might be the only one, and if I am, that's okay, but have you ever gone to your kid's school and walked down the hall where they have like all the pictures lined up, all the kids like doing their cute little artwork, or like, let's say it's a self-portrait, okay? And you see all these cute little faces and their names on it, and you're like, oh my gosh, look at all these cute pictures and these kids. And you're like, your heart starts pounding, and you're like, where's my kids? His is gonna have like a frowny face, and it's gonna have like black balloons, and it's gonna have like gnashing teeth because he's so sad. That's how he really feels, because I'm a horrible mom. Guys, that's totally dramatic. But I've had that moment before where I'm like, some artwork, I'm going to get something from home where he has like a big sad face and he's like so miserable, and it's going to be revealing of my mom guilt or whatever. Like you're looking for reasons to be like, see, that's how he really feels. And it's because of me, right? Like I'm being tongue in cheek, but Do you know what I mean by that? You're like kind of looking for evidence to support, like, see, this is my fail. It's a mom fail, right? Okay, how about this? When you're in bed, maybe you have a spouse, maybe you don't. But for the sake of this story, let's pretend you have a spouse or a significant other, and they're like trying to talk to you, and you're like tired, and you're like half asleep and half awake, and you turn over and you're like, hey, shh, stop talking. I'm trying to make myself feel guilty, right? You're like going through the day and thinking about all the things you did, and you're like, oh, I need to really get back to my self-beating because today, right? Have you ever have you ever had that happen before, or had those thoughts of like, oh, it's like noble for me to look back through the day and just like kind of beat myself up a little bit because I was, not the best mom today. Can you relate with that? I think every mom has ways where we guilt ourselves. Okay. All right. So let's talk for a minute about like guilt. What is guilt? Like, what do you think it really is? First of all, let's ask, is it productive? Is there anything good that comes from laying in bed, going through the day with your beat up stick? And you're like, see, and then I yelled at him. Oh my gosh. And then when I put him in timeout, I was probably squeezing a little too hard on his arm. Oh my gosh. I'm the worst mom in the world. And oh my gosh, my kids aren't in like all these sports like these other kids. And like, I must not be a good mom, right? Is there anything good that comes from that? Like, honestly. Okay. So let's ask them, like, what is it? Here's a few thoughts. This is just for you to gather what rings true for you. Guilt is a way to bridge not changing the things you're doing, but still feel like a good person. Okay? At the roots of guilt is I want to be a good person. I want to feel like a good person. Okay? It's a way to bridge not doing the things you're doing with still feeling like a good person. Okay? Also, I'm not going to own my choices or desires or change my behavior, but at least if I feel bad about it, I can think of myself as the version of me I want to be, a good person. So you're not going to change anything. You just want to feel like a good person still. Or you're still operating under, this is a good one, you're still operating under the pretense of other people's ideas of what you should or shouldn't be doing. I'm going to say that again. You're still operating under the pretense of other people's ideas of what you should or shouldn't be doing. Can I get a slow clap and a standing ovation on a Monday before noon? I was going to say afternoon. I'm going to say that again. You're still operating under the pretense of other people's ideas of what you should or shouldn't be doing. That is where the guilt comes in. It's seeking external validation in a subconscious emotional way. It's seeking external validation in a subconscious emotional way. Okay? If you ask someone why they feel guilty, the answer will always include the word should. Write it. I'm going to say it again. If you ask someone why they feel guilty, the answer will always include the word should. Isn't that interesting? And it goes back to, we're operating under the pretense of other people's ideas of what we should or shouldn't be doing. Isn't that so interesting? It's 11:11. Make a wish. Another thing, you guys, is I have done some really in-depth coaching, and I did a ton of coaching around mom guilt. Partially because I have a desire to work, and we're going to get into this, and we're going to unpack this a little bit throughout this next time together. But I want to share with you kind of the foundation. I love to create value. I did hair for 20 years, part-time, and I have these desires, this fire, if you haven't noticed, right? My team's like, whoa, I have fire in me about business. I did hair because I love to be an entrepreneur. I love people. I love creating value. I love business ideas. I love to watch people push past what they think is possible and create value. I love the idea of people showing up in their purpose, right? I love it. It is exciting to me. And so I also love being a mom. I love my kids. I love being in the moment with them and watching them and learning from them. I love it. I always dreamt of being a mom. I love babies and their fuzzy little heads and their breath. And I love nursing. It hurt like crazy, but I loved it. Like, I love the nurturing part of being a mom. I love having fun with them. I love teaching them and learning from them. I love being a crazy girl and like just being idiotic and laughing our heads off together. I love being a mom. Okay. I just got butterflies in my stomach. There's these two things. I love creating value and I love business and I love purpose and connecting with women and empowering women and health and all that stuff. I love it. It makes me have butterflies. I also love being a mom. Okay. So can you see how an unguided mind would create dissonance with these two things? What do you think this is right here? What do you think might happen between these two passions of mine? Do you think there's a little bit of mom guilt that might set in? Of like, but my only big purpose is to be a mom. And I've been told like it's the most important role. And so anything else is unimportant. It's like the message that wasn't being said that I was taking. I was misunderstanding well-meaning quotes. I'm going to say that again. And I want you to open up your ears a little more, get like, do this. Are you guys listening? Okay. I was misunderstanding common themes in my culture. Are you? I was taking things that were said and quotes like being a mom is the most important role you will ever have. Okay, I took that and then I took it to the millionth degree. So what that must mean is everything else is unimportant. Are you hearing me? Can you relate with that? Are you reading between the lines and putting words where they aren't? I was, okay? So I got to a point where I was stuck because I had these desires. I had these strong fire for business and for connection and women and creating value in business. Like, I love it. And I also love being a mom. For sure, I love being a mom more. That's not important. But for sure, those two things were strong. And I remember doing a lot of coaching around this, okay? To figure out what was underneath it. And I uncovered, I'm just going to share the short version to see if it resonates. I uncovered for me that the mom guilt was a scapegoat. So I could be a martyr. I could be a mom and love it, but I could do business and love it kind of, but as long as I made myself feel guilty for doing the business, then it made me a martyr and it got me off the hook. So I was gaining something from the mom guilt because being a martyr is a victim mentality. And guess what? As humans with butt cracks on this earth trying to figure this stuff out, if we can be a victim to something, guess what we get out of it? Significance. We must feel significant. It is a human need to feel significant. So if we are not intentionally in our purpose, and this isn't about being perfect, that's not what I'm talking about. But if you're not intentional about those thoughts and the human in you, it's really easy to go to a place of martyrdom being a mom. Because when you're a martyr, you are a victim. And when you are a victim, you feel significant. So back to the story, I was there. Okay, I'm going to be a mom and love it and be like all these things imperfect. But I'm going to guilt myself there and have some mom guilt. And also with my business, I'm going to just guilt myself so that I'm not enjoying it. Because if I'm a martyr, then that means that I'm still a good person. Boom. Did you hear me? Remember what we talked about when it comes to guilt. It's a way for you to still feel like a good person. That thought process might sound completely psychotic to you. You might be like, okay, Christy, so you're special. You're right. I'm totally special. And I'm weird, and it's okay. But maybe it resonates with you because you're gaining something from the mom guilt or you wouldn't be doing it. You're gaining something. Ask yourself, what am I gaining from this mom guilt? It isn't productive. We all know that. It's not getting us anywhere, but you're doing it. So what are you gaining? For me, it blew my mind when I was like, you're right. As long as I'm not enjoying my business, then it makes me a martyr. And if I'm a martyr, I'm still a good person because I love this more. And that's where my heart is. And I'm just going to like apologize for this other part of me. So that makes me a martyr, makes me a victim. Therefore, I'm significant and I am still a good person. How many of you are resonating with what I just shared on any level? Okay, just know there is something to gain from mom guilt. When you nail it and you identify, what is it I'm gaining from this? Oh my gosh, it opens up a whole new world, you guys. Okay, here's another thing. When I was in that zone, I was victimizing my kids, and you are doing it too. Let's talk about it. I, I would come up with things. Oh, my poor kids, they don't get me for 4 hours a day. If only I could stare in their eyes for 4 hours more every single day. Guys, when I started to realize, and this was something I actually did, when I started to realize, yes, I'm a mom. I love my kids. I love to show up for them, but I am not the center of their universe. They are. I'm here to simply guide and love and teach them, but their results that they experience are not my job. Did you hear me? I remember I was so deep in this work, you guys, that my coach actually had me go ask my oldest son. Guys, and here's the deal. There's compassion. We're going to get to that. I know why I showed up this way. You guys, my brother passed away when I was a 9-year-old little dolly. He was my best friend. He was my caretaker. He was 2 years older than me. We were tight. And when he left, kids are awesome at observing and horrible at perception. Okay, so I saw what was happening and I decided that you have to stare in your kid's eyes every second, because if your kid dies, you will guilt yourself for the rest of time. Can you see why that thought process might make sense to a 9-year-old Christy? Right? I wanted to stay safe. My brain wanted to make sense of something. Okay, so can you see why as a mom, I was like, oh no, I'm working. This is bad. And my thought was that being a mom is the most important role. So everything else is unimportant and gross. I felt gross for having those ambitions that I had. I shamed myself. I tried to hide them because that was the story. You have to stare in your kids' eyes 24/7 or else you're a bad mom. And we're going to get into binary good mom, bad mom too. But you guys, my coach, bless his heart, he looked at me and he said, Christy, I want you to go ask Jackson. Let's see, he was probably like 14 at the time. Go ask him, hey bud, do you want to hang out with me 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? Just see what he says. And Jax was like, Mom, what? I love you, but no. The point is, yes, you are important in your kids' lives, but you are not the center of their universe. Stop thinking you are. How would that feel as a kid to feel like with a mom that feels like she's the center of your universe? I'll tell you, it's codependent, it's smothery, and it's repulsive. Like, can you imagine, like, if that's how your mom was operating? Like, I need to be with you 24/7, and like, my needs don't matter. It's gross if I do anything outside of being a mom. Bull crap. Do you know what Jackson said to me that day? He's like, Mom, I love it when I see you doing the, ooh, I'm going to get emotional. He actually said, I love seeing what you do. I love it. Those were the days when I let go of that, of the old story. But I have compassion for that story, you guys. It comes from a really honest, sincere place and a good, loving place in your heart. But it's not loving to you. It's this codependent twist on a lot of things that we talk about in our culture. You are not responsible for your kids' results. You're not. You're not responsible for their emotions. You're not the center of their universe. Do we love them? Major? Huge, big, yes. But there is a line where it becomes codependent. And it's a truth that only brings misery when we feel like our job is to stare in their eyes 24/7. When we feel like it's gross to do anything outside of being a mom. That does not serve us and is not kind to you. And we're going to get into that too. Okay? So you guys, when I started to realize that, here's what came next. I'm going to skip this one part. Here's what came next. Oh, guys, this stuff fires me up. But the reason it does is because I've worked long and hard and I'm in process still. It's not solved for me, but I'm in process. My friends, your desires, your drive, that thing inside of you that makes you excited, It's God-given. It's not gross. It's not a distraction from the most important work. It can be both. There is nothing wrong with being a mom and a kick-ass businesswoman. There's nothing wrong with it. And guess what? The gifts that you have, the desires that you have are God-given. Stop shaming them. Stop hiding them. Stop apologizing for them. I remember a season where I would look at, and we're going to talk about comparison, and I'm getting chills head to freaking toe. I remember a season where I on social media would watch these, and I'm not going to, I could say the name, and I'm not going to, these people that were happy in their stay-at-home mom life. And I would should all over myself. See, I should just be doing laundry for 6 hours a day. I should be cleaning my room, my house again. I should be overthinking how to decorate my kids' rooms. That's what good moms do. It was so toxic. Good moms sit around and gossip about their kids in the circles. Their kids' drama. Good moms call other moms and say, your kid's being mean to my mom. Blah, blah, blah. Like I had this like avatar of this stay-at-home mom girl that's not even anyone. It wasn't even that girl that I was judging. I was judging her and saying, I should be more like her. We'll call her Bryn. I don't know. There was this person. And I had this avatar that literally wasn't even like her. I was judging her. Guilt always has judgment involved as well, P.S. We're sizing things up in a way that's not reality, but we think it is. We're looking at someone and we're judging. We're looking at ourselves, we're judging, then we guilt ourselves so we can feel like a good person. But I remember being like, I should be. That's what good moms do, is they stay home only with their kids and they stare in their eyes 24/7 and they never have other interests and they don't do business. That would be gross to make a lot of money. Ooh, that would mean I'm not a good mom, because a good mom stays home and it's the most important work and she doesn't do anything else and it's all or nothing and it's binary and it's black and white. That was my old story. But I remember, the moment when I was like, that is not my path. That is Bryn's path. That is not mine. I have these God-given desires and these fires in me that were given to me for a purpose. I'm done shooting all over myself. I'm done comparing myself to other people's paths. I'm done judging the crap out of other people and myself. This is my path. And guess what? I'm a God girl. God gave me this for a reason. And guess what happened? When I embraced that, you guys, dude, so much space opened up in my soul. When I just let go of the guilt, that guilt is heavy. It's dark. It's low vibe. When you let go of it, you are going to feel like you lost 100 pounds. Can I get an amen? Let go of it. We're going to talk about it. I'm yelling. We're going to talk about it. So we can.
Amen.
Thank you, sister. Give me an amen. You guys, we're going to talk about it because I believe that when you get to the roots of what's really going on and you push past all the stuff, there's compassion. When you've reached a place where you understand where it comes from, you get it. It's peaceful. There's compassion. You understand why you operated that way. We're going to get into that, okay? But for now, I want to just invite you. What are your gifts? What are your desires? What do you want? Dude, what is it? Do you want to be an awesome mom and be in those moments with your kids and be an awesome teacher and listen and hear their beautiful hearts? Yes, do that. And what do you want? What excites you? Because I'm telling you, joy moves the needle. I've been preaching that for years. I used to get fart noised about, joy moves the needle. Isn't that nice? No, it does. And there's energetic manifestation stuff wrapped up with that. Joy moves the needle. What brings you joy? Get your pen and start writing. What is it that brings you joy? What is it that excites you? Are you excited about the thought of being an emerald? If you're in plexus, don't shame yourself for that. It's a God-given desire. Are you excited about the thought of being a powerful woman with tons of money? Yes, that's a God-given desire. Does it mean you're materialistic? Heck no. You attach that meaning to it. If you want it, it's God-given. Period. So get clear about the desires that you have. Get clear on what do you want to achieve. If you're not in plexus, do you have a desire to start a business? Do you have a desire to, it couldn't even be business. Do you have a desire to be fit and active, a biker? Do you want to do something like out of the ordinary? Stop shushing that voice. Stop shaming yourself and embrace that that is you. That is your gifts. We are unique. Look at your thumbprint. Every 42 of us on this call, each one of us has a different thumbprint, a unique thumbprint. What else is unique about you? Everything. Stop looking right and left to see what you should be doing and then putting this beat up stick. Oh, see, I'm off track. I'm not doing what Bryn's doing. That means I'm not a good mom. Dude, stop it. You have unique gifts. Get clear on them. Let yourself talk about it. Let yourself write about it. What's the stuff that you haven't told anyone that you want to do? What's the stuff that you're quietly excited about, but you keep going, shh. Good moms don't do anything else but be a mom. Shh. That's not what Bryn's doing, so shh. Stop it. Let that babe talk. Get your pen out and write. Do you know what I said the other day? Oh, this is super vulnerable for me to even say it. And if you had a clue of the coaching I've done around mom guilt and around scarcity with money, this would blow your mind. Ooh, I have sweat tacos because this is firing me up. I wrote down on paper, I was like, what are the things that I want that I'm not talking about? I'm not telling anybody because, dude, that's too big. It's scary. I was like, I'm going to make $1 million in a year. Dude, do you understand? I know it's going to happen. It's just a matter of time. Why do I want to do that? Because I know that abundance is what we were created for. And I know that powerful women that have a lot of money and a bigger heart do a lot of good in this world. And I want to do a lot of good. And I know that God put me on the earth to do that. It's an impact thing. It's not a money thing. I want to make a huge impact. And guess what? We're on the earth. We got butt cracks. We have to pay bills. Money is just energy. Money does not, there's no stories. We attach the stories. Money is neutral. It is what you think it is. So for me to say, I'm going to make $1 million, heck yes. I've released the judgment around money. I've released the stories around, well, that means I'm materialistic and it means blah, 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 blah. I have compassion for the stories, but it's not my truth and it's not going to bring me closer to my goal. It's okay to say what you want. It's okay to be a powerful woman, a businesswoman, and a kick-A mom. You can have both. It's not one or the other. It's not binary, and it's your choice, my friend. Release the guilt. Step into the joy. I want you to have a list. Look at your paper right now. I hope you have a list of a few things that bring you joy. It doesn't have to be a business, but listen to your intuition. What is it trying to tell you? Accept that they were given to you for a reason and talk about it. Write about it. Start talking about it a little bit at a time. Because I'm telling you, where there's joy, that's a flag for your purpose. Where there's joy, things that are exciting to you, it's like a flag that's like, here, trying to get your attention. That's part of your purpose. So when you write down and you get clear and you give yourself permission to talk about those things that bring you joy and get you excited, you're getting closer to your purpose. But first, we have to remove the 1,000-pound weight of mom guilt on top of that. Okay? Then when you do, you're going to be like, boom, you're going to want to like get up and just shake it because you're like, I'm so light. I don't have to carry around that 1,000-pound weight anymore. I can be a mom and I can be an amazing businesswoman or whatever that is at the same time. And I can enjoy it too. I don't have to make myself feel guilty so I can stay a martyr. Are you with me? I'm not cheating on my kids when I'm working my business. Oh, I used to feel that. I'd go on these retreats and I'd be like, well, this is awesome, but I'm feeling guilty. See, so I'm still a good mom because I love this, but I'm guilty. I'm cheating on my kids right now with my business. So that means I'm a good mom. Huh? Are you guys with me? You've had these thoughts. I know it. Okay. So now we're going to take a minute to just calm for a second. I want to invite you to get comfortable, to close your eyes, and we're just going to breathe for a minute. And I'm going to guide you to get into your intuition for just a minute, okay? This is where it gets good because we're going to go into your intuition. Okay, so close your eyes, get comfortable, stop for just a minute. Whatever you're doing, you can afford a 3-minute pause. This is us slowing down to speeding up, to speed up, okay? Okay. I want you to take a few intentional breaths. Close your eyes. Oh, shake it off. Maybe you need to like roll your neck, roll your shoulders, touch your legs, like squeeze your arms. Tell yourself, here you are, here's your physical body. You're right here. You're in this moment. Okay, Mother's Day was awesome and it was also hard maybe. But here you are now, that's all gone, it's over. Okay, I want you to feel the air going in through your nose, down your throat. Just notice what it feels like to just breathe. With every breath, you notice your shoulders are coming down from your ears. You notice your jaw starts to unclench a little bit. You notice your face feels softer, your muscles start relaxing. Now I want you to go into that beautiful heart of yours. And I want you to just zoom out and just see you. Like how your friends see you. Picture that moment when you're with your dollies or your grown kids or however old they are. I want you to go into that moment. Maybe it's with friends, family, kids, spouse. A moment where you felt in alignment with your role as a mom. Okay? I want you to see yourself in that moment. Maybe you were building Legos on the floor with your son. Maybe you were swinging your baby on the swing in the backyard. Maybe you were watching your dolly dance. Maybe you were dancing with your dolly. Maybe you were having a good conversation with your older kids. Go to that moment where you just felt aligned and in your purpose as a mom, as a person, okay? See yourself. I want you to just like zoom out, like you would look down on yourself from a bird's eye view and just watch it all playing out. Breathe in the emotions of that moment. Feel it, see it, be there. What was going on? Look around and see what the situation was. Look in your dolly's eyes. Look in your kid's eyes. Maybe it's not a dolly, it's a grown man. Look in their eyes. Feel that connection, that soul to soul connection. Okay. Keep taking breaths and just relish in this feeling and exactly how you're experiencing it. Okay, 3 more deep breaths. In and then out, make a sound. Nobody can hear you. And if they can, cool. Another deep breath. Okay, last one. When you breathe out this time, your body just is going completely relaxed. Ready? Okay. Okay, my friends. Now I want you to get your pen. You're like, okay, now it's time to have a nap. This is a side note. How long did that take us? Okay, can you afford 2 or 3 minutes a day to breathe like that? I want you to write down sacred 60 and circle it. Commit to yourself and myself, I'm doing this too, 60 seconds or 2 minutes, whatever you have, to just breathe. Put on some music and just breathe. Give yourself a moment. Try to let go of everything up to that point and just focus on being in your body in this moment. Okay? Okay, so get your pen. In that moment that we just created, that you just created, and P.S., can you see that time travel's real? Because you just went to a moment that wasn't now. Okay? How cool is that? You can draw from that anytime if you want to. In that moment, let's release all the human stories about mom, guilt, blah, 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 good mom, bad mom. Just release it. Let's suspend it for a minute. If you need to put it on a shelf so you can grab it and work on that later, okay, cool. Suspend it for just a minute. In that moment that you just created with you and your kids and your dollies or your spouse or whoever that is for you, okay? In that moment, what did they feel about you? How do they feel about you? We're asking, how do your children really feel about you and the kind of mom you are? I want you to write. Don't overthink it. Don't judge it. Just write. How do they really feel about you? If you took all the stuff out, like your mistakes that you made, cool, you're a human, move on. All the stuff that you're shaming yourself or guilting yourself, just take it away for a minute. And all that's left is how they really feel about you. This might sound morbid, but picture it's your funeral and your dollies stand up to the mic and they share with the audience just a couple things that they really love about you. Because guess what? When we have funeral goggles on, all we see is the good stuff, right? Have you noticed that? You're like, wow, these people never made mistakes, right? Of course they did. But put on your funeral goggles just for a minute about you as a mom. How do your kids really feel about you? What do you do well? What are the moments that they love connecting with you? What are you doing? Is it something as simple as 5 minutes on the ground building Legos? Or is it your Thursday night dinners where you get to have time together? Or is it the trips that you take? Or is it a date to lunch? Or is it simply listening when they come home from school and you just go, for the next 5 minutes, I'm going to open my ears and my heart and just go, listen, listen, listen. Release yourself from fixing their problems and you just listen. How powerful could that be? What is that for you? I want you to have some things written down that are your joy spot with your dollies, your kids. It could work for a spouse or whoever in your life you want to presence, okay? That's unique to you. But guess what? Here's the deal with joy spots. There's not a time limit. You can hit the joy spot in 5 seconds. It's when you're in the moment, completely present. You're not thinking about the past. You're not thinking about the future. You've released fixing anything. You've released white knuckling anything, and you're just there. Your shoulders are down from your ears. Your face is relaxed. And you're just present with those people. You're listening. You're releasing all the conditions on good moms do this, bad moms do that. You're just present. That's what I call a joy spot. You can hit that joy spot with your kids or your spouse or yourself or whatever in 10 seconds. There is no time requirement. Okay, so from that space, I want you to write down each of your kids' names. This is about mom guilt. If you don't have kids, someone who's important to you, because we're all moms in other ways, right? If we don't have kids, who's important to you in your life? Write their name, okay, on a piece of paper, on a line, so you can like write something next to it, okay? And then I want you to ask yourself, what if I knew exactly how to hit the joy spot with each of these people? You know the answer. If you go, well, I don't know, you're overthinking it. No, what comes to your mind? When you look at their name and you're like, how can I connect with that person? Boom, what comes up? Write it. It's usually in their world, because so often we want to bring people into our world Okay, cool. But this example and this tool is going to require you to get into their world. So each person, I want you to define what is that joy spot for each of them. Okay, right now we're slowing down to speed up. This might seem like a lot of work, like you're doing a lot of unpacking things and stuff, but here's the key. When you get this stuff and you work through it, it's going to become second nature. So you'll be able to look at your calendar or whatever, and you'll feel like the old you would be overwhelmed. Oh my gosh, I got to connect with all my kids and I have all these things to do for my business and got to clean the house, blah, blah. It's going to take some practice, but there will come a day when you look at that after you've practiced and just 1 degree change every day, 1 degree change every day, not 100%. There will come a day when you can literally compute and plan your day with connection with all your kids, your business stuff, like in a download, because you've trained your brain and you've rearranged this stuff and you've slowed down to speed up. So you can look at your day, and I want you to do this. I want you to write this down. I'm a believer in the night before, simply think through and visualize your next day, because everything's created twice. So your day is created by you the next day, but at first is created spiritually, right? And then you get to walk it out physically. Create your day on purpose the night before. Not every single moment, but in this context and what we're talking about, visualize your day the next day. And with your list that you just created, how can I weave in simple ways to get into the joy spot with my kids or my spouse and yourself tomorrow? Ask yourself. It doesn't take a certain amount of time. It can be simple, okay? But when you're intentional about this, you start to weave it in, and guess what? What you focus on expands. Your focus is defined as, by Christy Jex, what you talk about, think about, and feel about. Those 3 things will show what you're focusing on. What are you talking about? What are you thinking about? What are you feeling about? Okay, if you want to take a look at where your focus is, ask yourself those things. Oh, interesting. What you focus on expands. If you want to reverse engineer it and be intentional with what you are manifesting and creating and experiencing in your results, reverse engineer it. Okay, take inventory. What am I thinking about, talking about, and feeling about? Okay, maybe you need to write it down and be like, I'm thinking about, the home, and I got to get this place cleaned and blah, 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 blah. Okay, it's such a mess and I feel so inadequate because everything's a mess and I'm not doing this in my business and I should be, and blah, 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 should. Right? If all that stuff's in your thoughts and your feelings and what you're talking about, what are you creating more of? Okay, keep it simple. Talk about, think about, feel about the things you want to create more of with your role as a mom. It's very simple. It's not always easy and it takes practice, but the concept is simple, timeless, and universally true. So here's my recommendation. Start small. The night before, get your cute little list out, trust yourself, and say, ooh, how do I want tomorrow to feel? In my role as a mom, how do I want to feel as a mom? What do I want my kids' eyes to look at when I'm in the moment, listening to them and just like totally in the moment with them and responding and really hearing them, not just listening? Get intentional with that. How could I weave in a 20-minute joy spot with that kid tomorrow? Stop overthinking it. Exercise some discipline to stop with the black and white thinking and let it be small and simple. Okay? Okay, so we're getting to the end. I want to hear from like a couple people. Does anyone have like a light bulb moment or something that came up to this point that you want to share? And then I have a couple things to finish us off with. I want to hear from 2 people. Who had a light bulb? Who got something from what we've been talking about? Did anyone else have sweat tacos about anything? That means you're excited. Share. I want to hear from 2 people. Should I call on people? That would be fun. If you don't want to share, that's fine. Maybe in the chat.
I'll say something.
Do it. Get it.
I liked what you said with, well, when you were talking about your son and what he said, how he likes to see you do things. And I feel like I've kind of looked at things that way with my kids already, but it just made it more like, oh yeah, they're watching me. Because my son put on his Mother's Day thing that I like to ride my bike. Okay. And to me, that shows them that I like to exercise, that I'm taking care of myself, and makes them want to do that too. And so I feel like we're being the example to our kids. And if they see us working, they see us out in the yard doing yard work, they're going to want to do that. If they see me going to work and helping other people in my job, they're going to want to do that. And so I liked how you said that. And I'm sure my kids would have the same perspective as yours.
Oh, I love that. Okay, to go along with that, something big that came up at that season, and someone mentioned this in the comments. I'm not very good at looking at comments because then I get distracted and squirrel, and then I like derail myself. But something that came up when in that season, I started to notice the things that I was teaching my kids. Dude, what if you're an amazing mom? Just what if for a minute? What if you are teaching your kids valuable foundational lessons through you saying, yep, I'm a businesswoman and I love it. And yep, I'm a mom and I love it. What are you teaching them? Right. What's coming up for you? As they watch you struggle and they watch you cry about your disappointments, but they watch you show up day after day after day after day, and they watch you have goals and they hear about your goals and they watch you achieve it. What are you teaching them? Can you see how you must trust that the exciting, joyful drives, the things that light you up are God-given? We don't know the end of the story. We don't know what our kids need. Ultimately, we know that we are the perfect mom for them. Write that down. You are the perfect mom for your kids. You know how I know that? Because you are the only mom for your kids. They have you. Therefore, I trust God. I trust the universe. I trust that there's no accident in that. I am the perfect mom for my kids. Even the days when I'm like, I don't know what to do with you. Yep, I'm the perfect mom for my kids. Okay? So, to end this, my friends,
Christy, can I share something?
Oh, yes, go ahead, Jess, please.
So I went to go grab this little note. Who got a note like this from their child, and it like tells you little facts about yourself? I love these. These are like the one thing that I like to keep in their little memory books. But this is for my little 5-year-old son from preschool, and he got most of it right. But one thing that actually stung my heart when I got it, I was like kind of frustrated when I was reading it, because I'm like, why would he say that? But it says, she is the best at, and then he had to fill in the blank, and he wrote working. And it kind of stung me. I'm like, out of everything I do, that's what you think I'm good at? Really? Like, I was not mad at him, but I was like frustrated because I'm like, I don't want to be known as the working mom. Mm-hmm. And so I want you to know, like, today's call hit my heart, because you guys all know, if you know me, I've been a full-time working mama my entire marriage of having children. And I used to get frustrated with the fact that I was a working mom. But then a couple of days ago, right after this paper came home, my neighbor's little boy was here, and I was like, hey, to this little boy, what is your mom doing? Like, how is she doing? I haven't seen her. And he's like, oh, she's probably just scrolling Instagram. That's all she does. And it actually hurt my heart more. Not that the fact that it was coming from my own child, it was coming from a different child, but I'm like, you know what? It's okay that my 5-year-old sees me, that I'm good at working, because it's also going to implant in their heart that it's okay to work hard, because great things come from working hard. And this, you guys, this screen that I'm looking at is going to reflect like generations to come, not just my kids, but I am that imprint that it's okay to be a working parent. It is okay to work hard for your goals. It is okay to work hard at your soccer games. It is okay to fail and be a failure, but I'd rather try than fail at something. And that is the definition of working hard. And so I want to be that mom that is really good at working, and that I'm the best at working. And I'm not the best mom talking in a circle outside, because there's often times that I'll look outside and I'll see a group of women and that they're outside talking, But how often do I leave that group feeling uplifted and ready to conquer the world? Never do I feel that way. But I leave this call going, all right, you guys, I'm ready to conquer the day. Let's get it done. Like, I just want you to know that coming from a working mom, and I see a lot of you on this call that do have jobs outside of Plexus or whatever that, other job might be for you, that it's worth it. And imprinting that on our children now is only going to have the side effect of generations to come. So Christy, thank you so much for sharing your heart today. Like, you are a little ball of fire that I'm just like, oh yes, I can feel you. Like, I'm ready, you guys. Let's just go and be the best at working. So thank you, Christy.
I love it, Jess. Oh, you touched on so many things that I think are like so many of us have dealt with. Those little sheets are one thing. Talk about walking down the hall and be like, where's the frowny face of my kid? You're like, oh no, what's my kid going to say on that thing? My mom's the best at yelling at me. Right? There's worse things, Jess. And on that note, my friends, here is a couple of things that I really want you and I together to take away from this call. Okay? There's a lot of ways to handle this stuff. I actually looked up mom guilt quotes. There's a lot of things you could say. You could say, how do you feel? I'm going to ask you, how do you feel when you hear mom guilt is a liar? How do you feel about that? To me, I'm like, okay, keep going. Like I said, when you get to the roots of something, of what's really going on, it feels peaceful because you understand. Mom guilt is a liar to me is combative. It's like fighting what is. It's resistance. No, mom guilt is simply a misdirected brain. Have compassion for that. So when you go there, when you should all over yourself, when you compare yourself to other people, when you focus on what you aren't doing, when you lose your cool and you're a human and you make mistakes, have compassion. When that mom guilt comes up, I want you to visualize taking it by the hand or maybe grabbing it by the cheeks. Embrace it. It's there as an invitation for you to dig deeper. Don't punch it. That's not a full understanding of what's really going on. Take it by the cheeks. I see you, mom guilt. You're trying to keep me safe. I want to tell you, grab it by the hand. Look in those eyes like a 5-year-old little dolly. We're talking about mom stuff. Look into the eyes and say, I hear you. You are afraid. I hear you. I feel you. Guess what? It's okay. I'm a good person by nature. I'm a good person. I'm worthy. I'm a good mom. I am the perfect mom for my kids. Tell that mom guilt in kindness. It's a misdirected 5-year-old that's just trying to scramble to feel like a good person. I got to feel guilty so I can feel like a good person again. You know now. We've pulled back the curtain. You know what that mom guilt is and why it's there. So embrace it. But don't stay there. You take it by the hand and you go, we're going this way. We've gone that way. We've guilted ourselves to death for all the years. Cool. It's done. We can go this way now. Come with me because I know you're a companion till the day I die. Come with me, my mom guilt. Like, come with me. I'm going to show you that this is safe. I'm going to show you I'm a good person. I don't need the mom guilt to try to help me feel like a good person. Okay? Have compassion for it. Guess what that's going to create? When you accept it and you name it and you learn how to move forward, you can change. But if you resist it, what you resist persists. Don't resist it. Embrace it. Ask it. What do you want to tell me? What are you trying to teach me here? You're trying to teach me that I'm a good person still? Am I a good person if I don't have like a St. Patrick's Day party with little teeny green feet on the toilet? Like, right? Ask it. Am I a good person still? Heck yeah. My path is unique. Bryn's path is unique. Don't judge Bryn. Honor her and her gifts. And this is a side note, when you see all the beautiful mamas that we are all one, it's not us and them. It's not the perfect avatar and then you. And honestly, that thought too, when we say, oh, I'm not going to do my matching Easter outfits because I'm a real mom. Okay. How about that? Instead of that, we go, that is her and her gifts. She loves matching outfits. Yay! Why does that have to be about me? Honor her in her gifts. She chooses to be a stay-at-home mom. Yay! I love that. She's in her gifts. And I'm going to stay in mine. Stop the comparing, stop the shoulding, and embrace it. And guess what? When that guilt comes knocking, listen, it's going to be like this. Yesterday was Mother's Day, and you got a paper that said you're really good at working. I really want to come in and like take over here and just like get that beat up stick and start like pinching your face and squeezing you and making you feel really uncomfortable. I just really want to. You can hear it. Oh, hi, it's you again. It will knock. You're not cured from it. It will knock. You can choose to say, I hear you. I choose not to have you come in and sit down and have a drink with us. Like, thank you, but no thank you. Okay? When it knocks, you have the discipline to notice it, acknowledge it, don't resist it. Don't resist it. Then it will persist. I hear you. I know you're trying to keep me safe. And actually, no thank you. I choose to stay in my gifts. I choose to look up to fill myself, right? Look up. He can fill you. Fill yourself. Stay in your gifts. That's what I choose. And I know I'm safe. Okay, my friends. Oh, I wish right now if we were all together in person, and guess what? Someday that's going to happen because I'm going to do some like big stuff with like plexus stuff and outside of plexus, and we're going to have retreats and we're going to hug and we're going to cry and laugh and dance. And so someday we'll be face to face when we're doing this stuff. If we were, I would want to just look every one of you in the face, and just say, you are doing so much better than you think. Focus on what you're doing right. Build on that momentum. When you make mistakes, apologize, be a human. Say, you know what, guys, I was reactive. I know that. Thank you for being patient with me. Will you forgive me? And they'll say, heck yeah. And you're like, awesome. Let's start over and let it go. Do you know that when we make mistakes and we take accountability for them, it is the best thing we can teach our kids? Because they're like, ooh, it's okay to make mistakes because my mom's right, no matter if she is or not. We always know that as kids. Mom and dad are just right. That can cause a lot of problems. It's okay. We're aware of it. Okay? Mom makes mistakes and it's okay. I can own my mistakes, ask for forgiveness, and start over. You don't have to hang on to the past. Okay? So when you make mistakes, hey, I love you. I overreacted. I am so sorry for the way I showed up there. I can do better. Will you please forgive me? Guys, seriously, when I do that to my kids, they just clobber me and kiss me all over. Of course, Mom, we love you so much. Like, but if we pretend we never make mistakes, what does that teach our kids? And we never own it and we don't level with them. Guys, there's so much that we can teach them just by owning that we're imperfect and we're humans and we're figuring it out. But we love our kids so dang huge and they know that. We are the perfect mom for our kids and it's just a journey, one step at a time. But I know that there is an energy. This is the last thought. There is an energy when you and I embrace that we can be a kick-ass mom and a kick-ass businesswoman. We can have both. There is an energy that is magnetic. It is filled with joy. It is filled with purpose. It is exciting. It is indescribable. It is light. It is aligned. It is so powerful. Our kids feel it. The people in our worlds feel it. And it moves the needle on our purpose on the big, grand scheme of things. Embrace that. Own it. Let go of the other stories and just embrace your journey and who you are. Okay, my friends, you are so loved. I wish I could just like hug you. We could squeeze each other and sing Kumbaya. And I'd kiss you on the cheek. And I'm so grateful that you took the time to be here today. Please know that you are doing better than you think. Focus on your wins. Be kind to yourself. You are more powerful than you think. Thank you so much for being here, my friends. Let's be intentional about getting those joy spots today. I love you all. Thanks for being here. Bye.